11 minutes after the hour. I apologize for running a little bit late there. And we have this meeting in honor of Trish Carey, who is being promoted to the city clerk's office. So instead of sitting on the right in the future, you may be on the left in the future. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
All right, give a little hand to Trish Carey there. Okay, item 1, Madam Clerk.
Item 1 is a motion, Rule Labange, relative to the Department of Transportation and the Department of Disability to report on the adequacy of transportation services available to the disabled.
Okay, we're going to continue this to March 19th. Is anyone here to speak to that? Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Good to see you this morning, John. Everything well?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Item 2.
Item 2 is a motion, Han Parks, relative to the Department of General Services to survey potential locations to purchase and build a recreational center in the Harbor Gateway community.
And I saw Mr. Sanjurjo was here. Is he still here? Is he left the meeting and a deputy for?
In the building, but not in this room.
Didn't he walk in the door right there?
Yeah.
But he walked right out.
Getting his boss.
Oh, should we hold this for Ms. Hahn, just so she would have action when she gets it? I understand that, but we'll hold it for her so she has some action if she comes in the door. Okay, hold number 2. Number 3.
Number 3 is a motion, Labange Rosendahl, relative to the Cultural Affairs Department and the Department of Public Works to report on the feasibility and cost of incorporating graffiti removal on murals.
Great. Who's here to speak to that issue? Hi. Come on up to the microphone. Okay, thank you. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Angela Mooney DRC. I'm the policy director for the City Project, which is a Los Angeles-based nonprofit.
She's from Philadelphia. You have, I want to say, not LaRon, but you have a...
Robert Garcia.
No, is that the City Project?
Yes.
All right, good, very
I
well.
was just at the meeting at Griffith Park on the East Bank with
Got
you a
it.
few days ago. So basically, we're here to say that we're in support of the motion, and we also support the efforts of the city to preserve this important legacy of murals in Los Angeles and the broader goal of support for public art. The City Project also strongly encourages the City of Los Angeles to work with experts in the field of mural restoration and conservation, such as the Social and Public Art Resource Center, on its graffiti abatement plan. Spark produces, preserves, and conducts educational programs and community-based public artworks. Spark's been at the forefront of producing and preserving murals for the City of Los Angeles for over 30 years. Additionally, Spark has always been a graffiti artist-friendly organization working to preserve alternative venues for artistic expression. The reason that we're encouraging you working with Spark or other such organizations with expertise is because graffiti removal from murals is a far more complicated process than removing graffiti from blank walls. This must be done with great care and caution so as not to damage the mural. And so the City Project strongly advocates for Spark to be given one of these graffiti removal contracts to clean up the murals because Spark has the expertise, training and experience to do this work. Additionally, Spark is committed to fully engaging the community in this process, including youth in its graffiti mural program. Spark has pledged to incorporate artists and youth who could repair the murals and reactivate the community surrounding the murals through an educational program about rededicating community commitment to murals in their neighborhoods. We also have written public comments to support. That's all. Thank you.
Do you have anybody else other than Spark who could do this? Do you know?
No, Spark's who we've been working with, so.
If you know anybody else, because I think it's the best interest of the city to get many people. I'm familiar with Spark and their dedication.
Right. We'd be happy to work with you on researching other
If you know
organizations
anybody, let
as
us
well.
know on that.
Okay. thank you.
Regards to Mr. Garcia. Anybody from staff want to report on this? Anybody here in this room who has an interest in this who may not be here to report on it but has an interest? Anybody who could hear my voice? All right, basically what we're going to do with this matter is approve this motion, and we're going to hold it in committee to try to work together with other initiatives at the same time. But all of us within the sound of my voice should take a very focused look with the best of our abilities to deal with this terrible issue of destruction of public art. And also, we are going to be organizing a outreach, and I see the Chief Deputy for the 2nd District here, that each and a deputy for the 15th District is here, and then the other deputies here, we're going to ask that we survey each district on where your murals are. And there are murals that are on public property, viaducts, underpasses. That is one classification. There's murals that are on private property. And we're going to have to get a update on where the murals are. And then there's murals on freeway systems, which are state properties. And we have to get a survey, and Ms. Kim, we are going to try to dub that all together with this and come back, and then try to find money to restore these works of art. I do believe, and I do know there's a correlation between vandalism and violence, and there's a lot of graffiti vandalism that is in the community throughout Los Angeles right now. We should approach this, but also enhance the opportunity for those, where appropriate, to create art. Because let's ask the Bureau of Engineering representative, come up to the center table, please, if you would there, and identify yourself for the radio audience.
Good afternoon, Neil Drucker, Bureau of Engineering.
Name 3 cities of the world that are famous for murals, and you're in one of them now,
Los Angeles.
right? Very good.
For 3. Boston.
I don't know.
I was just there, and they had a number of nice murals,
Right.
as well as lots of cows. France, I know Paris, France, has a number of beautiful murals.
They used to have a big wall. I'm just throwing that out. Just a clue there for you.
Maybe Laguna Beach and
No,
the
they didn't
Wailing
have-
Walls.
They didn't have a wall there. They had a religious wall on that Wailing Wall. I know in Berlin is a city, as well as Mexico City and Los Angeles and Berlin are some of the 3 prime cities for murals, but we've done a fall-down job recently. So we're going to reach out and survey. We're joined now by the great councilwoman of the 15th District, Janice Hahn. Thank you, and appreciate the...
I did just want to mention one thing, then, as we're talking about murals, we actually have a joint project with Spark in front of Valley College, where the Valley College Bridge is,
The Great
to
Wall.
redo the mural, the Great Wall there, so.
Right. And I think there's a great opportunity for the Great Wall. Are you on the river project at all? You working on the... To look at the murals. Now, some environmentalists don't want murals on the river, but I think at some portions of the central part of downtown, because of the bridges and the infrastructure, you don't want the water to run wild and erode the 6th Street Bridge, 4th Street Bridge. So that's a canvas to possibly create some art as a welcoming part if you're sitting on the east side of the train, whether you're going north or south, that you could see that. Assistant General Manager for the Department of Cultural Affairs.
That's right, Saul Romo. Just wanted to inform you that our meeting is scheduled for March the 18th with the Board of Public Works, and we expect to have a very engaged and earnest discussion on the murals. In light
On
of...
the 18th of March?
Yes,
At your office.
in your office.
In the office, because on the 18th of March is the Tuesday, and the Board of Public Works doesn't meet on Tuesday if I know their schedule. They meet on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
No, it'll be a staff meeting.
A staff
in our
meeting,
offices,
very
yes.
good, okay. Thank you very
And
much.
in light of the discussion we had yesterday in full council, we've already started making some preliminary discussion points on cooperative ventures with the other council offices and with the Board of Public Works.
And we're going to help you identify
That's correct.
public murals on public property and murals that are on private property.
Correct.
That's one of our challenges. So we'll hold this, approve it, but hold it in committee. Is that all right? I have a motion by
Sure.
Dennis Hahn. Okay, good, very good. Now, to recap, if we could right now, Madam Clerk, just give a recap for Ms. Hahn.
Item number 1 was continued until the March 19th meeting, and item number 2 has been held pending Ms. Hahn's arrival.
Great, and we did have one public comment card. May I take that at this time, Ms. Hahn?
Please.
Okay, Bill Eck, is that correct? That's
On the special agenda item.
on the special agenda item, so we'll hold that. Okay, very good, Mr. Eck. Did I say that correctly? Ike? Like President Ike?
That would be correct.
Okay, very good. Name 2 things that President Eisenhower started in his administration.
Sister City
Highway project.
Very good?
and Sister City.
Very good, and I just want to set an example there. Ms. Hahn talks out of class, so I was asking Mr. Ike, I know, I always did too. Very good. Let's, on item number 2, would you put a
Everyone
motion?
everyone in my report card said she's a really nice little girl, but she talks too much.
Okay, well, I would give a report that you're a very nice woman, a great leader.
And you still.
And you still talk
Oh.
too much, but not enough, because you have to be heard. There's only 15 microphones, and we got one of them. Okay, item number 2, would we have a motion to receive and file?
So move.
Very good, so moved. That completes our agenda. We do have another agenda that we're working off of, is that correct? Right.
Correct. We have a special agenda with 2 items.
Super. Item number 1.
Item number 1 is a
Neil Drucker
report
is here.
from the LA for Kids Steering Committee relative to the allocation, reallocation, and swapping of Proposition 12 and 40 funds for various projects.
Trisha Carey with the CLA LA for Kids staff. Before you is a recommendation to swap out some Prop 40 funds with city funds on 2 projects that will not meet the state deadline. So it ensures that we maximize the use of the state funds. And I also have an amendment to the attachment to add an additional swap for $10,000 worth of work.
Okay.
Woody.
So basically, that the city council should approve $920,550 to the Northridge Park Pool and Bathhouse. And then you have the Mar Vista Gardens Child Care Center, and then you also have the Northridge Pool, additional $500,000. And then you also have additional $500,000 account for Northridge Pool, $417,000. Reimbursement for the Northridge Pool project, we have a lot of that. We're going to get that pool open this year? This year? Good, it's completed, so this is just cleanup, so to speak? And we concur with that, so that's very good. And Mr. Smith has been briefed on that
Yes.
and knows all about it, which is very important. Ms. Hine, you have any questions about this
I
one?
don't think so.
Okay, so this is good, and we should send it forthwith to council. Who's a representative of Recreation and Parks here? We're okay with it, but here's what I want to ask, as a committee chair. You can sit down and relax, you don't have to come in. I want the next meeting, I want an item, a report from Recreation and Parks on the status of all pools in the city. I want to know which ones are going to be closed, which ones are going to be open, and what you have a shortfall on. And then, Madam CLA, for your replacement, which will be difficult to,
Cheryl
but
Burris.
Cheryl, you'll be able to handle it correctly. I want to see if there's any transfers we need to do. If there's some pools that we could open this year that just needs a little extra push, we want to get them done with the approval of the city attorney. Very good. Okay. All right, so that's good for item number 1. Ms. Hahn, is that okay with you, item number 1 on the special? Now, so ordered by Councilmember Hahn. Unanimous vote on committee. Next item.
Item number 2 is another report from the LA for Kids Steering Committee, a resolution and an ordinance of intention relative to the proposed 2008-09 Proposition K assessment.
Trisha Carey, LA for Kids staff. Before you is our annual report that will be submitted, which outlines the projects that the city will be undertaking in the next fiscal year. It also has another 4-year plan that lays out the projects that we intend to complete over the next 5 years. This year was a competitive year, so it also makes recommendations for funding competitive projects that the city received applications for. In addition, it allocates some maintenance funding to help fund projects that were funded with Proposition K funds.
Just a question. Do you know if we have to pay the county assessor money to collect this?
Yes.
Do you know what it is for this? Just out of curiosity.
Hi, Jackie Vernon Wagner, CAO. For the 2006-07 year, it was $155,000. We expect it to be approximately the same for the 07-08 fiscal year. Those amounts are shown in attachment 6 to this report.
Great, okay, so that's a reasonable fee. What is our total assessed collection on K? How much?
Annually, we collect $25 million. We are allowed to set aside 3% of that, which is the equivalent of that is $750,000 for admin costs.
Great.
And the 155 is taken from that. The balance of those monies are allocated to our city departments that administer the program.
Super. Okay.
I was just going to ask a project. I know in my district, the Rosecrans Recreational Center has $150,000 programmed for next year.
Yes.
And it's part of it is a construction of a baseball and a girls' fast pitch softball. Is the baseball field, was that the one that we were working with the Dodgers on? And is this our half of the money? And what's this guy? I've been waiting for this one for 5 years.
Yeah, Councilwoman, that is Neil Drucker, again with Bureau of Engineering. That is the baseball
field?
field, the dream field that we're working with the Dodgers on. We've had a number of meetings with the Dodgers. They don't seem to be as involved recently. However, there is, as you're aware of, there's a Proposition O project there, and we've been working with Proposition O, and they are going to be paying for a portion of the cost of not only the
So
water
is the
quality
total cost of the
improvements.
baseball field, how much?
Just for the Dodger Dream Field, or to
Yeah.
do something similar, that's probably close to $800,000, $750,000 to do a Dodger Dream Field equivalent.
Right, so, and when you say they're not as involved, can you explain what that means?
We don't have a current commitment from the Dodgers. We did at one point have a commitment. I don't know if that commitment is still true today.
Gee, wouldn't it be great on their 50th year anniversary of playing ball in Los Angeles, they pay tribute to their history,
Heritage.
their heritage, especially to the Hahn family.
Right?
And here's a baseball field we've been working for in the 15th district. What a great year for the Dodgers to get re-involved in building a dream field so that all kids could have the same
And
dream.
where's the location of this?
It's Rosecrans Recreation Center,
Right, which is located where?
the Harbor Gateway.
Good.
Right,
Which is
the entrance
exactly,
gateway.
again, what we're talking about. There was a shooting there yesterday. It's an area greatly in need of resources. It's disappointing to me, Councilmember LaBonge, that the Dodgers have,
Well, I wouldn't go as far. I think that was
Okay, I
an assessment
never do.
made by our Bureau of Engineering. The Dodgers are great community partners. It's, if you call 224-1400, I think, 323, ask for Mr. Lasorda, tell him I told you to call.
Okay.
He'll give you
Write
some
the number.
guidance on it, okay?
Okay.
And at the same time, too, I think we should make an assessment of how many children are engaged in youth sports at some of these rec centers. You know, I know this is the third month of the year, and I don't know if we have, you know how you have this listed right here like that, and you have all those numbers on it?
Yes.
Do we list rec centers like Rosecrans, and will it say, total 835 kids are been involved in youth sports? How do we keep the statistics? How do we know that as Rosecrans, it's meeting its relationship to what we program?
and before we leave my line of questioning, if only 150,000 is programmed for Rosecrans Recreation, and it's going to be split between the baseball and the girls' fast pitch softball, so we're still way under.
Well,
I
we
guess-
are under, however,
I guess
with...
what I'm
Yeah.
asking is, we're nowhere close to cobbling together the money to build this field.
No, actually, that's not completely correct, because we have,
Okay.
as I said, started to say, we have Proposition O funds, and a portion of those funds will actually be able to go towards the cost of the field, because the Proposition O folks, the water quality improvements, are actually
How many
going
funds do
under
we
that.
right now have set aside for this baseball field?
I don't have the numbers, I can go back there, I'm sorry, I didn't bring it forward, but in addition to the Prop K funds, we have Proposition O funds, and we also have a small amount of CDBG funds, and then we're trying right now, working with Recreation and Parks to identify the Quimby funds, which will be available to the
So
project.
do you think we have our 800,000?
Well, we're pretty close, I think, when we combine all of it, but there's not only the baseball, there's a softball field, plus we're doing other improvements, including new walkways, we're doing a...
That's what I'm asking.
Water quality improvement for the whole
I'm talking
thing.
about the baseball field.
Yeah, the baseball field, I think we're still short just for the baseball field. To do a dream field
Right.
equivalent, we
How
could
much
do
are we
less
short?
work. Approximately 350, 300, right, in and around that. The original agreement with the Dodgers would have had the Dodger Dream Foundation actually paying the cost of the design
Right.
of that facility, as well as a contribution towards the cost of the facility, which would have been about 300,000. So that's where we're really short.
So we're short the money that they committed.
Correct.
Fine.
But some of the time, too, they may be committed to other events in this 50th anniversary citywide, but we'll call and we'll check. The question I
Can I have your
wanted...
support on that?
You could have my support on it. You really could. I think it's real important. I think what Mr. Drucker is saying, too, you could probably have sports on that field, but you won't have a grass infield. Is that correct?
Well, it's not only that, there's other things that the Dodgers bring to it. We could still have a grass infield or a dirt infield, depending on if it's pure baseball or baseball and softball. If it's pure baseball, obviously you want a grass infield as
Right.
well as raised
Well, we don't usually do that in Rec and Parks unless
Normally,
it's
we
a dream
don't.
field.
Right, we use them as
permit
multi-use
field.
fields. The Dodgers also bring to the table usually upgraded fencing, lighting, they bring a scoreboard.
Like a dugout too, you feel
Dugout.
like you're right there at Legion Park.
How many dream fields do we have in the?
We have the Ardmore Soul, I mean, not the Ardmore, yeah, we have the Ardmore
Soul
Soul.
International.
We have Alden Sudden,
You have,
First one was in Highland Park, right?
the one in Highland
the one
Park.
on Manchester Avenue.
And the sort of Field of Dreams.
Tommy, that's not a dream field, that's just a old Silver Lake, field. It's not as dreamy as
It's
what
not
they
as
have.
dreamy as some.
But on Western, I don't want to say not Jim Gilliam. Does Jim Gilliam have it? Jim Gilliam should. What was his number?
That's not a
What was his number, Neil?
There was another one over at
What position did he play? Very good, very good.
What's the name of the one at
What position did he play?
Manchester Avenue? I went,
Third base and second, a lot of second there. Right, but no, Junior played there. But anyway, that's enough there. All right, here's the thing, Janice.
what, Tom?
Question, do we know, how many was at North Hollywood Park in their sports program? How many was at Van Nuys Sherman Oaks? How many was at Rosecrans? How many was at San Pedro? Do we know that?
Sue Gorney with Rec and Parks.
We can, obviously,
No,
recreation.
here's what
parks-
we don't have. Here's what I'm going to ask.
We
It
don't
has to
have
have
it
a
in
motion.
front of us.
Do you know what, this first here, you know what that is? That's a zoo card. I support the zoo, right?
Right.
So we should have a card that says, I support recreation, like a foundation. I know Mr. Sanders is building that. Do you know what this is right here?
Ralph's.
A Ralph's card. Do you know what
Card.
you do when you do that? Not only they give you the discount, they tell you they have a list, and it says that the Labange family likes this type of product. So they know what the menu is for the Labange family when you swipe your card at Ralph's. We should have some kind of card to swipe for services so we get these statistical numbers. You have over 300 parks in the city of Los Angeles, 143 rec centers, is that correct?
Councilman?
Or something like that. I'm just saying, to not have statistical information in this day and age says we're not up to the modern times. And even in our library system, wouldn't you love to know what is the busiest library? Wouldn't you like to know all those things too? Wouldn't you like to know cultural affairs, you're serving the community? And that way, I think it's important as we make our budget decisions and to know where you could do it. And the reason why I say that, there's my son's in a baseball league at Weddington Park, which is run by Toluca Baseball, which does 50 years, which they have their dream fields, what they do themselves under a permit from Recreation and Parks, which is great, because if they could do it there, maybe other areas of the city they could do it, but where there's greater need, this is where you get to Rosecrans and other
Rosecrans is
places,
the great-
that's where you step up and you say you figure out how to make a difference.
Right.
So,
Well,
Jackie.
I wanted to speak out of turn and answer a little bit for Rec and Park. Under Mike Scholl in Advanced Planning at Rec and Park, they did a fantastic needs assessment of all of the 59 pools. They plan on doing that for the recreation centers. That involves...
They're doing it right now.
statistics.
Mia Lair, I
Yeah.
think, is doing
Well,
that.
they're in the process of doing it, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, so they'll be able to give you that information.
Good.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
The way that we get our statistics right now is through what groups are using the fields, whether we have AYSO, Little League, Pony League. So that's our best measure of how we know how many children are using it. What also enters in there is the fact that our fields are open, and we don't fence all of our fields.
Sure.
and
Free play.
Anyone can come in, and you're right, free play. So we don't have the information on that, so the numbers are actually higher.
Right.
We also base it a little bit on demographics, on how many children are in the area and most
Right.
likely to use the park.
Right.
But the idea of the card, that's a great
Does
idea.
each rec center and rec director have a computer and
Yes,
set
they
up to ITA? So there's a system that you could just kind of do it, have a chart. I think it'd all be good. I was at North Hollywood Park last night, and it was fabulous to see the numbers of people who are participating in the recreation programs, and a lot of free play people. You know, a lot of free play people who just come, and it was nice. Unfortunately, there was a shooting 3 blocks away, and there was a lot of helicopters in the area, and I thought, this is why we have parks, and obviously to make them safe, and also the challenges that other regions of the city have, where they have that horrible violence that affects our state. So we got to work on recreation big time. Jackie, Neil, and
Sue.
Sue, thank you so much for what you do. We're going to order this forward to the council. I appreciate that.
Thank
And
you.
do we have one board that says all the stuff we've completed? You know, you have a,
Yes, and that's in attachment 9. We've separated the projects by,
well, here, see all those blank walls? You know, this is the arts, parks, health and aging.
yes.
And I think we could maybe have a board up there, we've completed that. Renovation of the observatory. The beautiful lighthouse under your leadership in Point Furman. What we have done, you know, to tell people, because we should always brag about, in the proper way, what we do. Thank you so much.
Welcome Park.
Welcome Park.
One of the greatest projects that recreation parks ever designed and built in the history of Los Angeles.
Which is exciting.
Very
Okay,
exciting. I
item
get
number
compliments on it
2.
every day.
We did have
Every day.
some people wanted to speak. Okay, Mr. Ike, if that is correct, we thank you. And also Arnold, I want to say it, okay, Arnold, what's your address? Lenox, California? I like a full, fill out the full card. I like them filled out. You live near the airport? Yeah.
Hi,
Work
Arnold.
near- What did I say? Live near the airport, live by the airport. All right, Mr. Ike.
Yes, my name's Bill Ike, and I reside at 9647 Stonehurst Avenue, Sun Valley, California, and I'm the chair of the Valley our VNOC committee. I just came to support the proposal and also to specifically say thank you to all of the staff who worked very hard, Neil Drucker and Trish and Jackie, and I just, they're a big asset to the community, and I really appreciate the ability of the community to participate in this process. So
Thank you for coming down and for being on the VNOX committee and making a difference in the community. And I know the East San Fernando Valley needs attention, as all the city does, but your help, eyes, and focus, I'm sure, certainly appreciated by the community and the council members and their staffs.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, Arnold, we're going to do that. And Angela already left? Okay, we're going to give her 2 for 1 on that.
Good afternoon, thank you. Very quickly, in your discussion about parks, last year, I believe, a couple of years ago, there was a story on ESPN about them creating special parks for disabled people, or children with disabilities with wheelchairs. So I know you're stretching the budget for parks and all that other thing, but I was wondering if there would be some inclusion for, I don't know what they were special leagues for disabled
Special
people.
needs all the time.
But the parks-
Universal playgrounds.
Well, they were making baseball fields like with rubberized infields so that people in wheelchairs could participate and use the fields themselves, or the baseball diamonds.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Arnold. I think Recreation and Parks has 2 centers, and help me, Elysian Park is a special needs center, is that correct? For physically challenged people? And there's another park also in North Hollywood?
And then there's also MLK,
Martin Luther King, so we're on our way, Arnold.
No, I'm just
Got
commenting.
it.
Public comment, just,
You got it.
I'm not complaining about the program, I'm just asking if it was included. That's
Oh, yeah, you got it. Thanks, Arnold. Take care. What bus number you ride? Really? Green line to the blue line? Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah. Ms. Taylor, special comment, hit the clock. Hi, Ms. Taylor. Joan Taylor.
I have a paper with the council members.
Councilman, this is a item.
Sorry for the delay.
Poor Joan Taylor. Ms. Taylor, do you know the number to City Hall? The telephone number to City Hall?
I am deaf and I do not know your words, but I'll try to make this very quick.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Reopen item 1 for Ms. Taylor from the previous meeting. Thank you.
January 16th, I came and I asked that the committee study the Department of Aging habit of wastefully allowing only one person a ride in the 50-cent vans. Each van ride costs the taxpayer $40. That's $80 a round trip. That's too much money to spend for an old lady to go and come from a 99-cent store. I have found out that only the council committee can ask for a report from the DOA. So I'm asking that you ask for a report on the status of this and the possibility of this from the DOA within 2 to 4 weeks.
Department of Aging, okay, now we ask that. Madam Clerk, give me that suggestion there. What can we do to do that? What's your suggestion?
I believe that item was continued in committee, and it can be scheduled at a later.
But at the same time,
meeting.
ask the question, can we, Ms. Kim, help Ms. Taylor with that?
Thank you.
Sergeant, if you want to handle that, the microphone had a little
But
problem.
we should ask for the report.
I think that's a great idea.
Very good point.
Okay, so clarify the point, Madam Clerk.
We'll schedule the item that was continued previously for a future committee meeting.
And we'll ask the Department of
No,
Aging
We have, for a report
to a report
on the status.
status of the cost of the shuttle service. Is that correct, Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
I do not understand, but may I add?
Yes, may I add? Could you hear me? Read my lips? Repeat exactly what you want.
I will wait and ask of Erica for your answer to me now.
Got it.
And hopefully later.
Good.
Unless it is written, I don't understand.
I support a motion by Ms. Hahn and myself to resolve the inquiry of Ms. Taylor. So we ask the Department of Aging for an answer back
Yes.
on her request for the documents.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
We just remind you, it's a terribly wasteful program as it is now, and we need to improve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan Taylor. Ed Fuentes from the View Lofts. All right, want to speak again? We'll let you speak again. You know, you missed your first slot. We're going again. It's just like the merry-go-round in Griffith Park. We go back, we start it up, you're back on it.
Item
We're
3
doing
was
it. You speak
continued.
your passion. Okay, item 3, reopen for public comment. Ed Fuentes. Where'd you go to high school, Ed?
Ramona High School, Riverside, California.
Riverside, California. Good. What's the name of that big Mission Inn, right?
Mission Inn, right.
Mission Inn, good.
Light it up every Christmas.
Got it. Okay.
This is about the murals, and listening to the resolutions or the motions that you were talking about yesterday and surveying.
Right.
As someone myself who was a marketing consultant and also assisted with Judith Bach at UCLA, and also have just put up a mural on Main Street. And then my blog, View from a Loft and Blog Downtown, have been documenting murals for the last 4 years. And we were the first to find out or discover the ones missing over on the 101 freeway. So we put that up and got some notice about that. And stuck in between two worlds because working with muralists, and then my brother and my father work for Caltrans, so I'm stuck between two worlds. But I want to make a recommendation that when you do survey these, to see what needs protective coating, is to maybe somehow with Spark UCLA, the Cultural Affairs, and anybody else who might have some expertise to maybe have some status or to mark which murals have a lot of historical significance, either locally or nationally, and maybe even internationally. At least that way there could be a priority which ones could be saved once monies are found. That would actually take a survey of people in the community through blogs that would take photographs, as well as what you recommended yesterday of deputies just going out into the street, because you do have a lot of people who've been documenting murals and keeping in touch with them, including people who know the actual artists themselves that can probably give a lot of insight and information along the way.
Right. Some of the 84 murals from the Olympic Games have been destroyed or painted over.
Right, and I remember that Judith Bach and helping or documenting that when they were restoring that one 4 years ago, and keeping track of that while they were doing that in Venice of the $1 million funding, and of course, it being destroyed almost within months, or marked within months when it was re-put.
And I think we mentioned yesterday, and Ms. Kim, I know you take notes in council, we're going to have the deputy survey, but we're also going to notify the neighborhood councils.
But I also maybe recommend some arts group like Self-Help Graphics that could help in East LA. Neighborhood councils just aren't completely up to date on all the murals, because it is a history that goes back to '72.
I got that. Okay, we'll count on your help too. Thank you. Okay, Madam City Attorney, has this been a legal meeting of the City Council's Arts, Health, and Aging Committee?
It'll work.
And Madam CLA, this is your last meeting. Do you want to say anything?
It is. I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I hope to work with all of you in my new position in the clerk's office.
Very good. Thank you for your help. And Madam Clerk, anything else before us?
All items have been considered.
Any public comment? Public comment closed and over with. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good, I was, you had a big press conference, big press conference. Well, they had it at the chief of police thing. So they've already, there was a there. So they were all there, big tons of cameras. Grattan and one of the black cameras got into it, because this guy kept trying to get the mayor kept quoting independent report at UC Irvine that said 96% of all homicides are black on black or Latino. And so they just kept arguing with the press. And I was just kind of like, were they interviewing me outside?